Less than 24 hours before he held me through a panic attack, I was in my ex's bed. I told myself I just needed someone to talk to, that it didn't really count. Not until it did. Not until I kissed him back. Not until I let it happen. The next night, while I was breaking down, barely able to breathe, Ethan missed this big job interview to be by my side. Wrapped me in his hoodie. Whispered, "You're okay. I'm not going anywhere." He had no idea what I'd done. No idea the woman he gave everything up for had already broken him. Ethan has always been the better half of us. We met during the last semester of college. I was frayed at the edges, working 2 jobs, dragging myself through morning classes, emotionally burned out from a string of selfish boyfriends. And then there was Ethan. He wasn't flashy. He didn't sweep in with perfect lines or a practiced smile. He just showed up. Again and again. He helped me carry a box of overdue books to the library. Brought me a sandwich once after I joked in class about skipping lunch again. Quiet, consistent, steady. I was so used to chaos that I didn't know what to do with peace. I kept waiting for him to turn into someone else, to show a darker side. He never did. Our first kiss happened after a late-night study session. I spilled tea on my notes and groaned in frustration. He laughed, leaned in, and kissed me so gently it almost broke me. There was no push, no hunger behind it, just intention. I remember pulling back and staring at him like I was seeing color for the first time. I fell hard. Ethan didn't overwhelm me. He grounded me. He taught me how to exhale. He'd leave notes in my books, walk me home even when it was out of his way. Once he stood in line for 2 hours to get me a signed copy of a poetry book I loved. Another time, when I got sick during finals week, he stayed up 3 nights in a row making me soup and quizzing me with flashcards. He loved my quirks, my restless legs, my obsession with bubble wrap, the way I bit pens when I was anxious. He never tried to change me. He just adored me, fully. And I did love him. I still do. I love him with everything I have. But I broke something anyway. Jake, my ex, was a part of a past life. The kind of person you tell yourself you've outgrown, even when part of you still aches in their direction. We had chemistry, sure, but also chaos. Fights that left us both hollow. Nights where we screamed more than we slept. We ended for a reason. Several, actually. But then a message showed up. 2 years after we'd last spoken. "Hope you're doing okay. Been thinking about you." I stared at it for a long time. I had moved on completely. I had no ties with Jake. I had Ethan. Ethan was my everything. I showed the message to him. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah, just surprised." "You going to reply?" "I don't think so." He nodded. "Whatever you feel comfortable with. I trust you." That was Ethan. Trusting. Always giving me space. I didn't reply. Not that day. But a week later I did. I wish I had an excuse as to why I did. Truth is I didn't. Me and Ethan were perfect. I was just curious. It was harmless at first. A short message, then another, then a joke, then a memory. Then, "Want to grab coffee?" I told myself it wasn't a big deal. We'd just catch up. Closure, maybe. I didn't tell Ethan. Deep down, I knew I should, but I justified it to myself. What's wrong with just catching up? Jake hadn't changed much. Same smirk. Same way of making me feel like the center of gravity in a room. And maybe part of me missed feeling like that. Like fire. Like danger. Coffee turned into lunch. Lunch turned into drinks. Drinks turned into nostalgia. Soon enough, he asked if I wanted to come up to his place. "Just for a bit," he said. "Just to talk." And I hesitated. Ethan. Ethan hadn't left my mind throughout all this. What would Ethan think? What would he think when he found out the woman he gave up so much for was here, sitting with someone else, even just talking? My heart twisted, painfully at the thought. But the pull toward Jake was louder than my reason. I told myself it was just a conversation. Closure. Nothing more. But deep down, I was already crossing a line I couldn't uncross. That should have been the moment I turned back, but I didn't. His apartment hadn't changed either. The same cluttered shelves, the same torn leather couch. I sat stiffly while he poured drinks. He handed me a glass. I barely touched it. He sat beside me. We talked, laughed. The air got thicker. Every time our knees brushed, I felt it. Then the silence came. That kind of silence where something's about to happen. And it did. He leaned in. I should have pulled away. Instead, I closed my eyes. The kiss was hungry, familiar, wrong, but I kissed him back. We didn't even make it to the bedroom. I didn't. Stop him. No. I did the opposite. I betrayed Ethan with my eyes wide open, fully aware, not drunk, not manipulated into it. I had no excuse for what I did. When it was over, I sat there, numb, breathing heavy, my heart nowhere to be found. Jake reached for me. He figured something was up. I never explained. I stood. I have to go. He walked me to the door. I couldn't even look at him. I blocked him right after I left his apartment. The ride home felt like a slow suffocation. I stared out the window, numb and hollow. When I got home, I showered until the water ran cold. I didn't sleep, just stared at the ceiling, trying to figure out who I'd just become. I thought hard, then harder. I needed a reason. I needed something. I needed something or someone to blame for what I just did. Nothing crossed my mind. It hit me. Ethan never gave me a reason. He was perfect. He called the next morning. "I'm flying out tonight," he said. "Wish me luck." I forced a smile into my voice. "Good luck. You've got this." "I'll call you after the interview tomorrow?" "Of course." But I wouldn't hear from him after the interview, because he never got on that plane. That evening I had a panic attack. You can guess why. Full spiral. My chest felt like it was caving in. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't stop shaking. I don't even remember calling him. But he came. He showed up at my apartment at 1:30 in the morning, wrapped me in his hoodie, carried me to bed, held me against his chest and whispered over and over, "You're okay. I've got you. I'm here." He missed his interview. Didn't even tell me until the next day when I asked. "It didn't matter," he said. "You matter." I wanted to scream, to sob, to confess. But I didn't. I just nodded. I couldn't face him. Since then, I've been living two lives. In one, I'm the devoted girlfriend, supportive, present, loving. In the other, I'm a liar, a coward. Ethan still makes me breakfast every Sunday, still charges my phone when I forget, still watches trashy reality TV with me even though he hates it, still looks at me like I'm his home. I still catch him at times watching me when he thinks I'm not looking. A softness in his eyes. Love. He had always told me I was it for him, how he'd one day start a family with me. I know I overthink it, but sometimes I worry if somehow he knows. I don't dwell on these thoughts for long. It gets unbearable real quick, but inside, I flinch when he reaches to touch my hand. My skin tightens whenever he talks about our future. Kids, a house, plans that feel like chains. I avoid his gaze when he smiles and asks, "What do you want us to do next?" because I'm too scared to answer honestly. At night, I wake up, gasping, drenched in sweat, tears staining my pillow. I tell him it was just a bad dream. He strokes my hair and tells me everything will be okay. But I lie, because I'm scared he'll see the cracks I'm trying to hide. Yesterday, he surprised me with a note tucked inside my lunchbox. "You're my favorite person," it read, in his neat handwriting, next to a tiny pressed flower. I wanted to cry then, but later, alone in the shower, I broke down. The water traced my trembling body as I stared at my reflection, a ghost of the woman who loved him and broke him, haunted by what I did and what I might lose. I don't know if I'll ever tell him. I don't know if I'm protecting him or myself. All I know is, every time he smiles at me, something in me cracks. Every time he says, "I love you," I want to cry. Not because I don't love him back, but because I do. Because I do. And I still did what I did. And I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself for that.